Check, check.
Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Salman Khani from Think Smart, where every single Saturday we share topics on how to live a healthier, happier, and a smarter life. I know I have been gone for a week and a half now, but I had some family circumstances that I had to give my full attention. But now we're back with a new spirit and with a new energy. Also, I'm dedicating this episode for my brother and best friend, Dr. Ibrahim Khani, because he is a huge influence in everything good that I do. Alright, so in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 myths or lies that you have been exposed to about learning and what is actually the truth. This information is very important to know so that it can actually accelerate your learning and how to be smart. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, we've all been in a class where someone gets an A and the other person gets a D, and you might be the one who gets the low grade, and you would always think, well, hey, am I a bad learner? That's not true. People have different ways of learning, and it all really depends on how you learn. So, lie number 1, inherent intelligence is important for success. That is a complete lie. Of course, there are people like Einstein and Newton who had unbelievable amount of genius, but those people are rare. What about the rest of us? You see, not because you're not good at something, then you're stupid. It might simply mean that that thing does not fit you. It's not your purpose. And so moving and venturing into a different thing until you have something that you're very passionate about is a very important thing in discovering your intelligence and genius. You see, even IQ exams, they test for classic operating conditions such as thinking out of the box, creativity, ingenuity. Although these are all very important skills to have or ways of thinking, it does not take into account other world factors. And so, not because someone has a low IQ, they're not smart. They simply have a different way of learning. Alright, so what do I do if I'm in a class and I'm not getting a point and I'm not understanding like someone who has it? The first approach that I really take, even with myself, being an A student and being on the other side, is I always know that people have intelligence because they're looking at the information from a different perspective. Not necessarily because they're dissecting the information and analyzing the information in a completely different way. It's just that they're looking at the information from a different scope, from a different lens. So I always go and ask that person, how are they understanding this topic, or how are they able to come to this conclusion? This is a very important thing to accelerate your intelligence. Again, don't think that you are less smart than someone because they're getting another grade. That is pointless and has absolutely no purpose. Alright, so the second lie that we've all been exposed to is that failure is bad. That is a complete lie. Failure is not bad. Failure is actually a very important step in the process of learning. People who fail and then try different approaches till they get to their goal are actually far more genius than people who are consistently dependent. A research was conducted by the University of Singapore where they divided the class into 2 teams. For the first team, they gave them a test and they told them they can work together and they can ask for the teacher's help when needed. For team B, they gave them the same test and they told them they can work together, but they can't ask for any outside help like a teacher or the internet. Although Team B had far less correct answers than Team A, Team B were more able to understand the question and try different approaches till they get to something very close to the answer. Well, if you think about it, Team B were not just delivered answers, they had to think of different ways, and even when they failed, they tried different approaches, and that really increased their critical thinking skills and their analysis. And so again, failure is not bad because it will allow you to look at the same topic from a completely different way and approach it in a different method, and will also increase your experience in terms of knowing what works and what doesn't. And it also helps you a lot in not giving up, and trying to reach different ways until you get to where you want. Lie number 3 that we've all been told, that forgetting is bad. That is completely false. Forgetting is actually not bad, and it's very important in the learning process. You see, information or skills that you don't use on a daily basis, or that does not have a lot of meaning in your life, are constantly filtered out of your brain because it is deemed as unimportant. It's not because you have a bad memory, it's because it is not important to you. And so in this way, the brain has more space for new memories. And so forgetting is not actually a bad thing, it is a very good thing in regular terms. Of course, there are diseases such as Alzheimer's, which has a completely different mechanism, but in general, forgetting is not always bad when it comes to learning. All right, so the 4th lie that we've all been told, more is better. Not necessarily, more is not always better. Here's the thing, people that cram for 13 to 14 hours studying or working on something specific are not actually retaining the information at a stronger pace. You see, you have to always remember that the brain is a muscle, just like any other muscle in the body. And when we train it by studying, we also have to give it a break. You see, if you go to the gym and do biceps for 100 reps, you're actually gonna burn out and you're gonna make the muscle weaker. In the same way, if you study for long periods of time, you're not actually retaining more information. It's actually bad for your memory. And so spaced repetition or spaced learning, where you study for a certain time and then you take a break and then you study, it will help you actually understand the topic on a deeper level, not just memorizing all the information. And you see, more is not better, it's smarter that is better. And so being able to learn through phases of, taking a break is going to help you understand more, and is going to also help you become smarter. That's exactly the point of this channel, how to think smart. And so this is a great tip for all of us, including me, to remember when it comes to thinking smarter. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please comment below. Let me know what you think. Tell me what you agree on, and maybe other lies that you've been exposed to, and what we can all learn. And I'll see you next week with a new episode. Salam.